Good morning, and super happy to teach about the core as a physical therapist myself by training. My core work was the central key to my practice. So if you don't know a lot about me, I became a physical therapist in 1999, and I work in an outpatient clinic. I actually ran my own clinic for 16 years. And a year ago this month, I'm going to talk about that soon here, I transitioned out of my brick and mortar clinical practice to do online coaching full time because I really felt called to this. To what I do now is helping in wellness more than in rehab. While I loved everything I did in the clinic, and everything I do now came out of my years in the clinical setting. And one of the biggest things I worked on was the core. And the name of my practice was Stay Fit Physical Therapy and Core Wellness. And the word core, as I think somebody said recently, I chose it not simply for the physical core, but our spiritual core. And I'm super passionate about the core, both the spiritual core, our hearts, and the physical core, what we're going to talk about today. And a lot of that is because of the problems I had with my physical core. So today, our goal is to talk first about why building a strong core is really important for you and for your health. Then we're going to talk about the 3 myths about building a strong core and how you can debunk them and why you need to debunk them. And then I'm going to have a free gift for you to help you get started on your journey. And so lots of information, lots of excitement. If you are struggling to build a strong core, if you struggle with belly fat, if you don't know how to build a strong core and you've tried, or you're trying and don't get results, then again, you are in the right place and you are not alone, because most of us in middle age struggle with our bellies, and there's so much confusion between belly fat and core strength. And today we want to talk just about that. And if you are ready to learn about this topic and you want to know the truths about the core, not the myths, go ahead and put myth in the comments, meaning that you don't want to be fooled by myth. You want to be led by truth. And we're going to help you today to uncover truths, not myths. There's a lot of myths around the core, and I'm going to focus on 3 of them today. And so go ahead and comment myth in the comments to help me see that you want to learn what these myths are, because part of becoming aware of truth is uncovering myths. So if we don't know what the myths are, we don't know what the truth is. And that's our goal. And so I see a few of you are excited. And as I said, the more you engage, the more you will learn and retain. And that is our goal. So in the last 2 weeks, I did 2 posts, one in the group and one on my personal profile. And one of them said, having a flat stomach means you have a strong core. Agree or disagree? And maybe you didn't have a chance to vote on that poll, but do you agree or disagree that having a flat stomach means you have a strong core? Many of you did vote, and you agreed or disagreed. It was kind of split even, that having a strong core, a flat stomach, meant you had a strong core. There was a lot of questions on it. Some of you didn't know, and I appreciated that. I put that out there on purpose. And then the other post I did in my profile post was, a defined 6-pack means you have a strong core. Is that a fact or a myth? And again, if you didn't have a chance to vote on these posts, you can vote right here in the comments. Having a defined 6-pack means you have a strong core. Is that a myth or a fact? And would love to hear your thoughts on that. And I'm going to uncover both of those. Flat stomach does not mean you have a strong core, and a defined 6-pack does not mean you have a strong core. So what does having a strong core mean? Yep, I see your myths coming through, and I appreciate that. So just to tell you a little bit about my story to help you understand why I get so excited about talking about strong core. I never had a flat stomach. Some of you women did have a flat stomach, and then menopause hit and you didn't. Others of you, like me, have never had a flat stomach. And I have health challenges, primarily polycystic ovarian syndrome, that led to me struggling with my weight and a lot of insulin resistance and a lot of belly fat. And then as I became a physical therapist and studied I developed chronic low back pain and would have some flare-ups fairly frequently, and really they were quite debilitating. In fact, when I got pregnant with my first son, the way I found out I was pregnant was going to the emergency room because of acute low back pain. It turned out I was pregnant, which was probably flaring my back pain, but acute back pain and flare-ups were a regular part of my story. In fact, after having my first two sons, they are 2 years apart, I went to a Pilates class where I couldn't do any of the exercises and I felt completely humiliated. And I went to the class not as a participant of a fitness class, I went to the class as a rehab professional who knew I needed to incorporate some of this into my treatments and helping women and men, because I knew enough that core weakness was a big issue. Well, not only did I know, I learned very quickly that I had really very little core strength in my own body. And I knew that that was heavily contributing to my flare-ups of my back. And with both my pregnancies and having no flat stomach to begin with, we're just creating a huge problem. And if you can relate to any part of what I'm saying, I would love to hear that in the comments. Say relate to me so I know that I'm not alone. Well, if that wasn't bad enough, so I took that Pilates class that was like, let's say in 2005, started working my core, became a Pilates instructor. So you're like, your core must have gotten really strong. I thought it was, and it was, until 10 years later, I had a third son at almost age 40. And while I thought my core was really strong, I had one of my worst flare-ups of low back pain, reminding me of how easy it is to lose core strength and how much of a lifelong process this is to work on your core. And so I was awful. I couldn't, as a physical therapist, when you end up, you're teaching people how to be well and you can't even get up to go to work, and it was visible. And I never missed a day of work, but I was in so much pain, and my colleagues helped me come out of that. But after that, I can tell you, I've never gone back since about 15 till 2022. I have been able to not have one more acute flare up of my back. And I thank the Lord for that. And I thank the things I teach and I do and practice heavily with comprehensive wellness, not just core exercise, to help me stay well and feel really good. And so the good news is there is a way to build a strong core, but before you can start doing that, you got to uncover some myths. And so there is hope for you. And I'm telling you, I still don't have the flattest tummy. It's getting flatter though, which I told you last time in the live. Just because you're middle-aged doesn't mean you should get weaker and get flabbier. There is a way around it. And there is a formula that works, and that's what we do with our clients. And if you need to be reminded of that today, then I'm here to encourage you that there is hope. So why is building a strong core important? So as I mentioned in my story, back pain is what was a huge part of my debilitation, and my back pain was due to me having a weak and unstable core. And if you've ever had low back pain of any capacity, drop low back pain in the comment. The statistics for low back pain are super high. Managing low back pain costs our country so much money. So many people start having low back pain like in their early 30s. And so if you've ever had any low back pain, then I want you to let us know in the comments. Doesn't have to be now, but if at any point you've had low back pain, let us know because I think it's just going to be so prevalent. And so having a strong core is important because it is really important to reducing your low back pain. Having a strong core is necessary to support your spine and prevent your injuries altogether. And if you've already had an injury, having a strong core is going to help prevent the progression of injuries. This is really important because low back pain, while it starts out just muscular, it becomes more complicated and it can become very debilitating and problematic. And some of you watching are like, yeah, I know, I'm there right now. And so we totally get it. So, and as I said, I spent 22 years in the clinic, and a huge part of my expertise was helping patients with chronic low back pain. And as I told you, that was my story. And my patients not only recovered, they overcame because of the way we taught them how to work their core. Building a strong core is also important to your posture. I tell you, and I don't kid to tell you, that I used to have horrible posture, and my posture is so much better. I couldn't bear to see pictures of me in the past because my posture was so bad. And at almost 50, I actually don't mind my pictures, and I have good posture and able to maintain it because of my improvement in my core strength. Having a strong core is also important because for so many of you who tell me you want to be able to stay active with your grandkids, you want to stay active for your kids, to be able to do everyday activities like getting down from the floor, squatting, house projects, whatever it is that you need to do, you got to have a strong core to improve everyday tasks, activities that you would like to keep doing into the, later seasons of your life. And so, again, if you have grandkids and you want to be able to be active, this is going to be important for you. Again, so many of the women I talk to tell me that this is important to them. Having a strong core is also going to help you look better. If you have better posture, you're going to look better. And there's nothing wrong with wanting to look better, because when you look better, you feel better. And if that's you, you want to feel better, you want to look better, put better in the comments, just drop the word better, because it is really going to be the case. You're going to look better and feel better as you work on your core strength, and it's going to be a big game changer. The good news with core is you see results fairly quickly, but you got to keep doing it over time, and appreciate those of you saying better. I love it. So nothing wrong with wanting to look better. And so, and the last reason I want to highlight about why having a strong core is important is it improves your balance. In our 30s, we start to lose our balance, and sometimes people don't think they lose their balance is a big deal till you're like 50 or 60, but it's actually in your 30s and 40s that you need to start working on your balance. And a big part of balance retraining is core strength. Did you know that? If you didn't, then drop balance in the comments. Core strength and stability are directly related to how balanced you are. And if you have any trouble with balance, drop the word balance. And one of the parts that you need to focus on to improve your balance is your core stability and strength. So core strength is super important to reduce low back pain, to support your spine, to prevent injury, to improve your posture, to improve everyday tasks. Joy put lifting her grandson, exactly, for better appearance, for better feeling better, and for improved balance. Core is really critical to all of these things. And thank you for those of you that are relating in the comments. I love it. So let's move into uncovering the myths. And if you are ready to uncover the myths, the 3 myths, give me a drum roll emoji to show me that you are excited. And I am excited to share with you 3 myths. These are just 3 that I picked because there are so many, and I just want to highlight 3 myths and guide you on debunking them. So if you're excited, drop a drum roll in the comments. So I'm going to go on and start with myth number 1. And again, I teased at that myth in the post that I posted, but myth number 1 is having a flat belly equals having a strong core. That is not true. Just because you have a flat belly, just because you're not carrying extra weight, does not mean you have a strong core. There are 2 different things. You can have a strong core and not have a flat stomach. And you can have a weak core, but have a flat stomach. So the flatness of your belly is not related to the strength of your core. Now, having a 6-pack also does not mean having a strong core. In fact, if you have a weak core, but a very developed 6-pack, it's harder to help you. When I worked in the clinic, I had some patients that would come in and they had really defined 6-packs, some 8-packs. I think of one woman in particular that worked really hard to build her 6-pack, and then she got horrible back pain. She couldn't understand why, because she had a strong abs. Well, indeed, she had strong abs, but she did not have a strong core. And when your 6-pack is so developed, but what's behind the 6-pack is not, there's a greater challenge to build a strong core because of having to what we call inhibit the 6-pack muscles to allow the core muscles to fire. And so as a PT, I always told my peers, I should say, not patients, that I prefer working with people who have weak bellies, because you can help them build a strong core more easily than people who have a really strong 6-pack but really weak core. Does that make sense? If that makes sense, drop makes sense in the bottom, because when your 6-pack is so overdeveloped, that's going to always be the dominant muscle, and it's going to inhibit you from being able to fire your core muscles, which are deep inside. And so just a side note to help you understand that having a 6-pack, having a flat belly does not mean you have a strong core. Your core is made up of 4 parts. It's a container. Okay. And so your core, I was going to ask you as a quiz, how many parts are to your core? And I already told you. Thanks, guys, who are saying makes sense. I appreciate that. That doesn't mean you don't want to work on a fixed 6-pack. You just want to have a strong core first. And then as you develop your strength, you build towards a 6-pack. So my goal was to quiz you on how many parts makes up the core. And I already told you the answer, but you can drop the number 4. The core is made up of 4 parts. Okay. Core is not the same as abs. People use those 2 words interchangeably. Core does not equal abs. Abs equal 25% of core. Okay. So remember that. Abs is one, abdominal muscles are one of the 4 parts of the core. And so when you look at the core, you've got the top and bottom of the container and the front and back, and the front wall are your abdominal muscles. The top of the core is the diaphragm, which is your breathing muscle that helps you exhale. When you exhale, your diaphragm comes down. And the bottom of the core is your pelvic floor muscles. And the back of your core is your posterior muscles of the spine. So 4 parts to the core. And if you want to build a strong core, you need to know how to engage all 4 parts. Now, you might be like, whoa, that's complicated. And if you're like thinking that, go ahead and drop complicated in the comments, because it is somewhat complicated. And that is why, as a professional who specializes in core, I cringe when I see some things that are out on the free internet that people are using to build their core, because there's a lot you need to know to properly build a strong core. And that is why we always suggest as physical therapists that you work with a professional. And with our clients, we have tons of resources for them to learn about how to fire their core. So building a strong core is not equal to building strong abs. And if that is ringing a bell for you, I'm happy to hear that, because I want to debunk this myth that abs, flat stomach, 6-pack equals strong core. Core is made up of 4 parts. And if you really think if you need to work your core, you need to be working your pelvic floor, your diaphragm, which really means you need to engage in breathing while doing core work, front abdominal muscles, and back spine muscles posteriorly. If you hold your breath during core work, you are not using 25% of the core, and that's going to be problematic. And you need to be able to do core work. It is not about crunching and sit-ups, and I think I touch on that a little bit later. We start very small. So myth number 1, having a flat belly does not equal having a strong core. Core is made up of 4 parts. If that is clear and you understand, that is myth number 1. We're going to move on to myth number 2. Myth number 2 is you cannot shrink belly fat by building a strong core. It's a myth if you think that you're going to shrink belly fat as you work your core. Like I told you, I don't have the flattest belly, but I have a fairly strong core. Not as strong as I want it to be, but it's stronger than it used to be. Okay? To shrink belly fat, you need to focus on a nutritional caloric deficit. You also need to do cardiovascular exercise and strength training. And that is how you target reducing fat in your body. So there are two different things. Belly fat shrinks with fat burning exercise and nutrition. While some core work is a part of that, just doing core work as core work should be done will not shrink your belly fat. Did you know that, or are you surprised? Would love to hear your thoughts on that. And so a lot of times women want to do what they call spot reduction. And so you keep doing ab work to turn your belly fat and into, burn your belly fat. That's not going to be that effective. In fact, crunches are one of the least effective methods to build a strong core. We don't even use it. I don't teach crunches. We do Pilates roll-up activities that are not crunches. Crunches create negative pressure in your spine, can actually create a lot of instability at the spinal level. And so, if you want to shrink fat and belly fat, you got to focus on your nutrition, managing your stress, and managing your exercise. Okay, we talked about that 2 weeks ago in a training on belly fat. If you didn't hear it, you got to go back and hear it. So if you want to build a strong core, you have to focus on targeted core work that is not going to be the right level of exercise to get you to burn belly fat. They're very different. Now, once your core is stronger, you can start working harder. But when, again, going back to working with so many people over 22 years, when you start doing core work, it's frustrating because you almost feel like you're doing nothing. But this is really important because my next myth, which I want to touch on, so many women say to me, myth number 3 is I don't even have a core. Have you said that? My core doesn't exist. I'm never going to be able to have a strong core. That is a lie. Have you believed that lie? So I'm on to myth number 3, the lie that you're never going to have a core and you cannot ever be strong there. Go ahead and drop lie in the comments to tell me. I believe that lie. I told you guys, I've never had a strong tummy. I've had chronic back pain for years. And so to have not had one acute flare up in my back since 2015 tells you that there's hope for you. And thank you. Alyssa said it, lie. And I appreciate those of you that are engaging. So every one of us has a core. And every one of us can build a strong core. Every one of us. I don't care how much you weigh. This is really important, guys. So there's 2 different issues on the table: weight loss, belly fat loss, building a strong core. And building a strong core is really important for the health of your spine. So everyone has a core. Everyone can build a strong core. Most humans in middle age are walking around with a very weak core, which is why we have such high prevalence of back pain and so much abuse of addictive meds to help manage back pain, because no one is learning properly, not no one, but not a lot of people, how to use their core. The key is to know how. And so again, it is not a quick fix. That's why sometimes it's really hard for me to release resources on that, because it takes time and it starts very basic and we build onto that. And as I already said, crunches will not build a strong core. They'll build a superficial muscle strength, which if you focus too much on that is going to inhibit your ability to build your strong core. And you have to learn how to work your core in all positions: on your back, on your side, on your stomach, in standing, on your hands and knees. And core workouts should not be exhausting when you're a beginner. Less is more. Focus is the key. Focus on engaging your core, engaging your breath, and maintaining the stability of your spine when you do the movements. The goal with building a strong core is stability. You shouldn't do core work every single day. You should do core work 3 to 4 times a week. Are you doing that? Would love to hear how many times a week you're doing core work. Seeing a lot of lies coming through. we were just talking about that with a client training this morning. So many women do not like to do core work because it's hard. It's new. It's not familiar. If your muscles are really weak, it's even harder because it takes a while for your mind and body to connect and feel these muscles and engage them. And so, I'd love to hear if you currently do any core work, specific core work. Tammy said none. Thank you for your honesty. I appreciate that. And so that's got to change, Tammy. You got to start doing core works 3 times, but probably wrong. And I appreciate that, Tracy, because core work versus ab work, I think that would be a big takeaway for you. Ab work and core work look very different. Starting Pilates, that's good, Sharon. I love it. Good job. Pilates is, when taught well, is a really good way to learn about core. And like I said, that's where my journey started. So when you're working on your core, you're going to have better posture, better stability, stronger movements throughout your whole body. My posture is so much better because I've built a stronger core. So, 3 myths, maybe all of them are important to you. Having a flat belly does not mean you have a strong core. Doing core work is not going to shrink your belly fat. You might notice a little bit of flattening. I just want to be clear there. But if you're trying to burn belly fat, that's different than building a strong core. That's myth number 2. They're very different. You can have belly fat and have a strong core, as I've used myself as an example. But as I work on burning belly fat, I have different strategies to burn belly fat than I do building a strong core. They're different recipes, so to speak. Just so keep that in mind. And myth number 3, you will never have a strong core. That is a lie, or even that you don't have a core. I don't care if you've had a C-section. I don't care how many kids you've had, surgical trauma to your belly. There is a core that is still there and it can be activated. And as a physical therapist, I have worked with so many women with all kinds of backgrounds like that. So what is my special tool? Before that, if you're ready and excited to start building your core, I want you to put ready in the comments. Yes, Tracy, I love it. That one is correct. And I try to pick things when I give you these workouts that are going to fit enough education to guide you. So I appreciate that. And Kathleen and Tammy said they're ready. And so I want to give you another tool that is called a workout called Lose the Love Handles. And I want to make sure you are really building slowly on it. This one's a little harder than a previous one that I've given, which is flatten your tummy. And so if you are ready and you're excited about this free resource, go ahead and drop love handles. That's what I want you to drop in the comments. And I will send you the tool. Give me some time because I have steps to follow up with on all these trainings. But if you want the free tool that I'm offering you as a gift today, put love handles. And I am going to send you that tool through Messenger. And I will be following up with you guys. I always want to make sure that you are getting the right level of support to achieve sustainable weight loss and wellness. Our program through the Stay Fit for Life 5 Principle Method program is a combination of science and scripture and my personal experience as a physical therapist and a counselor to help you move from where you are to where you want to be, not just with weight loss, but with your overall wellness, so you can live better for God and live out the calling that God has for your life. So lose the love handles if you're listening now or on replay. If this training is helpful, as I said, we are celebrating 2 years and we want to build this community. We want to get over 5,000 guys, and we've been kind of stuck in that 4,700 members. And you are going to be the biggest way we build this. And I'm asking you to help us because you know the kind of things we offer in here. And if it's been valuable to you, and every day you guys tell me how much value you get out of this free group. And I'm so happy to hear that. But we want more women. We want this to be the strongest faith-based weight loss community on Facebook. And so the way we're going to do that is with your help. And I'm not asking ashamedly, I'm asking you openly. Please invite 2 of your friends to join us, help us build this community as we prepare for an exciting month in May. Next training is going to be great. I've already started thinking about it. I'm always thinking ahead. And again, as always, if you found value here, let us know. I like to hear it. I know it may not sound otherwise. Sometimes it's hard. I'm just talking to a screen. Let me know what you found valuable, what you're taking away from today's training. And if you need help, either message me directly. You can find out about what it looks like for us to help you. You're not signing a dotted line. There's no need to be afraid. We're not trying to like scam you or like sell you something secretly. We're openly telling you we have free services and we have paid services. It's up to you what you choose. But we just need to know. And that way we can help you. So message me or drop help in the comments. And if I see help, I'll know you want me to tell you more about what we do. And always thrilled to be with you, ladies. I do, this is my calling. This is where God has me, and I serve you with joy at no matter what level you choose to be catered to. And so 3 myths about building a strong core, how to debunk them. Trust you found this useful, and I hope you have a great rest of your week. Great to be with you, and I'll catch you next time. Have a great day.